Evening, everybody. Uncle Fester here again. All right, here we are, the CMS Child Maintenance Group or Child Maintenance Service, formerly the Child Support Agency. Horrific and horrendous treatment of people. We continue in these talks. Tonight we've brought on beautiful man and woman who are in a relationship, been in a relationship for 3 years, and it's got to a stage where the CMS and the treatment of the CMS towards these individuals has been quite appalling. They've sat down, we've got some evidence to show you today, all right, which we're going to talk through. And we're going to talk through their case because there's seems to be an ongoing thing that when people get together, one of the individuals within the relationship becomes the rock, and the person being pursued by the CMS actually starts suffering with the hounding and emotions. You'll see with this case that on the 20th of August this year, the gentleman actually got a letter from the CMS requesting payment of estimated £256. Then within 12 hours, on the 21st of August, he comes home from work and he receives another letter which is demanding £450 plus to be paid to the CMS. This is the type of things we got going on. It's remarkable how somebody could get this letter. So we're going to discuss this in more depth today. And his reaction to seeing the envelope, the brown envelope, and I've heard it so many times, it's the dread of the brown envelope. I'm going to bring Craig on now. All right. Craigie boy, how are you?
Uncle Fester, good evening. Craigie boy, not Bully Biscuit.
How are you, Bully Biscuit?
Or anything like that, eh? Craigie,
chips. Right, we got two beautiful people. Let's not hold on any further. Let's bring them on. Mark and Charlotte. All right.
China.
Hello,
Hello, guys.
How are you?
Good evening.
Right. Thank you very much for coming on this evening. Okay, and for the information you shared. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. Mark, I've said on the opening credits that you had a bit of a shock. Brown envelope.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, with CMS, obviously prior to anything to initially start with, fair enough. Obviously, my ex had decided to go through CMS. At that time, I was extremely naive. So you get a letter, you get a price that I obviously thought that they had worked out on my basic income. Obviously, that turned out not to necessarily be. I will skip slightly forward to a point of obviously receiving a letter, which prior to the 20th of August, where I received this letter, before then, I did have counter letters come through the door. So when I say that, is you have a letter, it says your payment. They've worked it out on your wages, which I now know obviously is gross. But putting that initially aside, for the fact they've told me it's, for example, said amount, which is a lot more than what my basic is. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
You think, okay, I can bite that. You try and rework your finances, and what can I shuffle about. And obviously then a week later, I get another letter, the price has changed. I don't know why, it's gone up slightly, not by much, but it's gone up slightly. And it was the 20th of August that I had a bit more of a blow. Again, it's a fairly sensible amount, to be quite honest. I can't remember the exact figure at this moment in time. I've got the documentation somewhere. Yeah. It's around 256 marker. That number sticks in my mind. And the very next day, so we're now talking, that was the 20th of August last year. The 21st of August, I come home from work. As soon as I open the door, this letter's on the floor. There's a white one with it. That to me don't mean really much. I see the brown one, and straight away my head sunk. I sort of just stared at it and thought, "Nah, I'm not opening this now. I'm not." I remember shutting the door, just walked straight through the house, and I'll be quite honest. I went to the fridge, pulled out a can of beer. I sat down and thought, right, I'm not opening it because, and it's because I'm also aware that if you like, receiving parents, whether that be man, woman, they receive one. I don't know if anyone's had contact with anyone else to put any figures forward, but obviously I know there's a reason why this letter's now there, and subconsciously, because of how I've previously had these letters, what have slowly increased in price, not by much, but they've increased. I thought I'm not opening it. So I remember sitting silently on the sofa, a beer in hand, and by this time I'd pulled the letter to the table, just staring at it. You know, what's in there? And obviously I get to the point, open the letter, and yeah, my suspicions were right. It's basically doubled in price. Again, I don't know the exact figure. It's in the 400 marker. And straight away, any sort of financial planning.
You received a text from them as well. I remember last year we received a text just as because we were being alienated at the time. We were alienated for quite some time last year. I think in total, so it was 3 months the first time, and then I think it was 2 months the last time. And that was when we had to go to a meeting with social services and try and, negotiate with, Emily and just try and get something in place so that the children were seeing us again. And it's just, I don't know. I just remember them sending a text message and Mark showing me the text message. It was be on your old phone because now they don't have his new number, which is a good thing.
No, I've updated my number on the call.
There we go.
If it works.
My concern is the effect it's had on you as a couple, and after talking to you, I am fully aware that now Mark distanced himself really from a CMS because of the interaction he has with them.
To be quite honest, the reason we're talking to you guys tonight, it's due to Charlotte actually showing me some of your prior videos, which as much as I don't like to think about, if you like, my situation, if you like, knowing that I'm not alone and other people are affected, does it helps for, if you like, the wrong reasons. Obviously, you don't want anyone else going through hardship. But because I've distanced myself, and Charlotte has, she obviously, she's a loving soul, and she don't like to see me getting home from work. I'm mopey. She thinks there's an issue with her, which obviously on several occasions, look, it's not you done, it's not, and I've opened up. And and she's been going on I don't know, things like CSA from how and getting other people's giving advice obviously where she can and getting other people's circumstances, what's been happening.
And that seems to be the thing, Craig. Most times the partner, the other side, the partner becomes the rock because the emotions are they get to. It's like another relationship breakup with a CMS because
they're responsible for a lot of relationship breakups. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, but it's like breaking up with them as well because there's so much emotion with dealing with them. It drains you.
It does. I just want to cover the brown letter thing again. The brown letter. that is a menacing thing. When you see the brown letter, you know who it's from, and it does strike fear into you. And I want to reiterate this because, you know, the government say that they can send you brown letters or send you, you know, Article 8, you're supposed to have the right to a family life and
it's a human right.
You know, it's a human right, and Article 8 is like, you know, you're protected from having threatening, menacing letters, you know, disturbing letters, but there's certain things that they can send you if it's in the public interest or whatever. But the thing is, what these people are doing, they are sending you threatening and menacing letters. A lot of the time, you do not owe the money that they're demanding from you. So that itself is a breach of Article 8. If the figures were correct, which they never are, they're very, very, very rarely or ever correct, then that is without a doubt a breach of Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights.
So,
And as you can see, it's having a serious impact on your mental health. When I've heard this for so many years. When people and certainly when I was going through it as well, you know, that brown letter, it was like, oh my god, I don't want to open this. It's horrendous, you know.
and the thing is,
Can I just say one thing?
go on.
If you can bring up, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you something, all right? Now I want you to read it, all right?
Craig, send it to me and we'll go through that. But what I'm going to say to you now is mental health is the biggest thing. I know you've got conflicts of information. You've got factual arrears as well. What's your fictitious arrears, which you haven't had an assessment for?
The fictitious arrears have kept changing, to be honest, without me really understanding how they've changed. Now, there was a month, I'll be completely honest, where my ex completely cut contact with the kids and demanded more money. And I must admit, my heart sunk. And with that, I went, right, if I don't get to see my children, you don't get any money. Now, obviously, I only done that for 1 month. The following month, I thought, well, I still need to pay towards my children. And that was roughly a tune of, if I can remember, around 300 and something roughly that I should have been paying. Which, you know, we're all human, and okay, I carried on paying it. Through CMS, they said I received a letter at some date, basically saying that obviously they've been informed that I've missed the payment. My arrears were, say, the 300 and call it 60 marker. Because it's going back a little bit in time. With that, obviously, I've still carried on making payments. I've increased the amount slightly for each month to cover that amount. Me and my ex had a falling out. I can't remember what it was exactly about, but shortly after, I received another letter from him, and the arrears had risen to about 500. Haven't missed a payment since, you know, at all. And it's only recently, when I say recently, we're talking over the furlough period. I've finally tried to get together with technology and go onto the portal, if that's what CMS call it. So I managed to dig out a letter with my number, go on there, and there's it was initially 1,300 and something. Which I was shocked by. Again, I can't give the exact figure, but it's within the thousands, 1,300. And what shocked me more, that I can't give more of a specific date now, this is recently. So towards the end of furlough, obviously I don't know what's happening with my HR, maybe working from home.
Yeah.
They missed a DEO.
Yeah, they did.
Now I appreciate it's jumping a bit. It was actually my CMS hadn't contacted me. My ex-partner did. Obviously, for the last few months, we've been quite civil, which has been really nice, especially for the kids. And she contacted me to let me know she hadn't received payment. And obviously, I'm thinking, well, it's out of my hands. But I said, well, don't worry, I'll contact HR, my department.
I'm going to stop you by for quickly. So this is during now the COVID-19 during furlough. Yeah. Your partner contacts you, say CMS hasn't paid me.
Yeah.
Right. This is a major thing because it's been in the papers as me and Craig have been discussing, Craig. All right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so all of a sudden she's contacted you that just go on, keep going there, Mark, because this is important.
Yeah. So basically, she had contacted me to basically say that she hasn't received a payment, which I believe she said the 19th she was expecting it.
Okay.
That hadn't gone through. So I said, well, okay, leave it with me. I'll email HR and just double check that had gone through. Now, initially, I'm paid on the 28th for each month. So on the 20th, I had emailed them. I finally got a reply letter in that day, and they put their hands up and said, okay, apologies, working from home, and it does appear that payment wasn't sent. They then reassured me that that will be done immediately. I don't know what means they use to pay CMS, whether that's direct transfer, check. I obviously don't know. But I'm assuming obviously all companies obviously know that method. Now they had obviously confirmed that they had sent it. We're now going to skip call it 5 days a week. I've in this time spoke to my ex and said, have you received your payment yet? And she's obviously said, well no, which she did actually say, I'm getting short of money myself. And at this point, it's now pretty much on my payday. So I've got obviously my pay slip. I've got the deduction. I already know I'm skint myself. So I did say, well, look, I'll help you out where I can, whether that's food. I said, I've got plenty of food in the cupboard. I can run that over, or if the kids need certain small things, I can certainly try and help out there. But unfortunately, I can't send you a cash lump because I sent her my pay slip. And she said, no, she said it's fine. She said, I can see that obviously you haven't got it. So, as we were talking, I can't now give her it. So what's irritating is CMS have it, but they wouldn't send it. Now we're going to jump nearly a month later. So call it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
There's still no receipt of this payment. Right.
What?
And obviously I'll get paid again.
Yeah.
It's only, and I'll say it carefully because now the second month she still hadn't received the payment. Now I had it on my payslip, but because I knew my HR had made a mistake, I did contact HR and say, well, look, just so I'm aware, has the payment been sent to CMS this month? And can you also confirm that the prior payment was also sent?
Yeah.
They then confirmed to me that yes, the prior payment was sent, and the new payment has been sent. And they also confirmed they had spoke to CMS by saying what they will do is also make, rather than give me 2 months of one DEO or my company taking twice the amount.
Yeah.
Because obviously they got to stay in a bracket of 60% of your wages.
They've got to leave you with legally. They've got to leave you with 60% of your wage.
So basically, what they said to the CMS is they will make top-up payments. So they would take, if you like, an additional 100 each month to then pay off what they had missed. And it's during this now conversation that my ex then thought, right, okay, I'm still not getting my money. Eventually, after battling, She said, okay then. And we had prior spoke about this. This is in her words. She said to him, right, I've struck a deal with my ex. We're going to go back to direct pay. He's going to pay me. So we'll remove the DEO. The very next day, she had a payment in her account. She then finally had a reply from CMS on her portal, and I think it's an email. Basically saying, now I don't know exactly how it's worded, but how she read it at the time was along the lines of, apologies, your payment's late, but if you stick with us, we will, in those words, we can guarantee each payment. And since then, she has each payment, bearing in mind that obviously now I'm not saving that 20% by paying my ex directly.
Yes, it's in your kid's pocket.
It's yeah, you know. So you know, there are times obviously of you know, as with anyone, we all have a limited amount of money. Now, I'll be honest. There's times in the past that payday loans have certainly been, oh, right, okay, I can get some money. But then you see the APR rate, and yes, I have used them because I'm short. And you know, I've got my kids. Let's say over the summer, even during lockdown, it's like, right, we can't really go anywhere. But instead, because you're in all the time, I don't want it to be TV. It's all right walking out. I'll buy you a treat. So when you've got no money and you think we're all in together, you know, and during that space of time, there was about 3 weeks to a month, because she was isolating as well, that I've had my children, and I've loved it, and so have they, right?
I tell you what I'm going to do.
Knowing that we couldn't do anything.
No, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I want to stop you for a minute, because I'm sorry to tell you this, but this is what you have been classed as by Baroness Stedman Scott, and I'm going to show it. All right? Because what you just said to me is a failing on the CMS's behalf. CMS have failed to pay your ex her money she's entitled to for her child, and you've been talking to her, all right, during COVID, because the DWP used a lot of staff and moved staff to other areas of the DWP, all right, so they started moving people about. So CMS actually suffered, and a lot of single parents out there today have actually been told it's because of fathers like yourself haven't paid. You've just proved that wrong, because there's a news article. Those using COVID-19 to cheat their kids will be hunted down. Baroness Stedman Scott. I'm not going to swear, but she needs to understand what's really going on.
Clive,
all right?
I've been sending her emails for months since she took over Wilquins, and she doesn't listen. She's a man hater.
Yeah, she is.
She really is.
Look, this is disgusting, Craig. Because
do you know something? Where says will be hunted down. I've had the police, because I'm just going to say, when my case was live, I said I will hunt you down, because you've committed fraud against me. I'll hunt you down, because I'm going to get my money back, what you stole from me. And the CMS sent the police around my house for using such terminology. I'm going to hunt you down.
But Craig, Mark, move the camera a bit. I need to bring Charlotte in. But Craig, at the end of the day, what she's done there, she's actually
biased.
Blaming the parents for feelings of the CMS.
Exactly.
All right, and the biggest thing is what they are doing is,
Clive, they've got control of the media, so that's what they pump out.
Yeah, but Craig, it goes worse than that, all right? Because what they're doing as well is, right, I'm going to go into. I'm going to show you something. You raised something earlier, Craig, which is a little bit of a concern.
Clive,
All right.
Clive and Craig, I've just sent you over something that Emily sent over to me from the CMS. It's on your WhatsApp. So it's the letter that they sent to her. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So
read.
what I'm going to do, all right, I'm going to go into my WhatsApp in a minute, and I'm going to start playing with my WhatsApp. That sounds very...
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
Oh, well, do you remember when I called you at your wedding?
Oh, I tell you. But we'll go on to that another time, Bully. But, right, Craig sent me something which is very interesting, all right? And remember what I said, emotions. Actually, I tell you what, I'm gonna play the recording, all right? That you were sent. Let's get the recording. That allows me then to go away and have a look for this letter. And for everybody who's watching, this is a recording. I've got 2 recordings, and I want to show the first recording. I've got to cut it out because your data protection. All right, you actually, I got to watch what I'm exposing on you with your address and everything. All right.
It's not you.
But I'm gonna let it go, and then I've picked a point, and I want people to listen to this recording. Then I'm going to show the second recording, and I'm going to discuss. Right, I've looked at this from a third-party bias. All right, and yeah, the voice in the women, the voice of the operators, and these are operators you go through to on CMS, and their voices are very different. And I will give you although you would tell me the way she's treating you is wrong, I agree with you, the way her voice comes across is wrong. But there's reasons behind it, and I'm going to explain the reasons behind it. And what I'm going to try and show you is the individual. We've got to be careful because the individual, it's not their fault, it's the institute. And I'm going to
and of course, serious training issues, Clive.
Yes, serious training issues.
Mental health support for
But Craig, there's serious training issues, serious mental health support, and serious and misunderstanding of emotions. And the other thing is as well, lack of support from the CMG group for these people doing the job. And I will cover all that, but I'm gonna start it off. All right. I better put the screen up because we won't be going anywhere otherwise. There it is. So I'll start it off, then I'll jump.
Maintenance Services, I need to take your name and your customer reference number, please.
Hello there. It's Mark Mayhew, and I have a reference number of 121.
So that's Mark making contact. I'm now going to move it forward past the point of where you're talking, giving your national insurance. You actually, Mark, you don't know your national insurance off the top of your head, son. No. I gathered that by the call. All right. So I'm now going to take it to a point in time where you start talking.
26p in arrears. Obviously, because of what was made up before in regards to how often I had the children, is that taken into account of me not seeing them and then it going to once a week, or is that also?
Well, any changes in assessments are based on a change. So if you have a change in when the case is, the effective date on this case is April 2019, so it's a new case. So we only do changes if there's a change reported in income, a change in overnight stay. So if 1 minute it was no shared care, then it went to 1 night shared care, and then if it was confirmed by both parties, then those changes would be done, and then your assessments for those changes would be what you'd need to pay at that time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So.
Okay. So you've got. So when you first, right, can I just stop you there, because I want to do it in stages, do it rather than jumping ahead. I just want to make sure we're covering every aspect. So the effective date, you would have gone through what we call a gather call. Somebody would have contacted you, and you would have, that would have been questions regarding your income, things of that nature, yeah?
I've not had questions regarding my income. That's just been more of a case of what I earned last year, stated in a letter.
Well, that would have been a discussion that we would have had with you if you'd called us. We would have sent you a letter.
Excuse me, I was on hold for over an hour yesterday. Both times I've been cut off. I've had to dig through a load of stuff to find previous letters where I've had to use my national insurance number. Now, I appreciate it's a free telephone call, so that's fine. However, I'm an extremely busy person. I've not got time to be on hold and then held up onto after I spoke to two people that have then passed me on to someone else, which then I've been hung up on because it's obviously not gone anywhere. I've then phoned back. It's gone 7:30. I appreciate you've all got to go home.
We're not allowed to come off the phone at 7:30, so I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just trying to answer your question.
No, that's asking me. I've used my national insurance number. It's gone to someone else.
We're beyond that. We've done all the security, and I'm happy to speak to you. I'm just trying to make sure I'm answering your questions for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate you've probably got a lot of people moaning at you on
Look, sir, that's that is the nature of the beast. I don't work for Thornton's, I don't work for Virgin Airways, I work for the Child Maintenance Services. And sadly, it is the way it is. I can deal with it. I don't, you're not being rude to me. And if you were being rude to me, I would ask you why, because I'm not being rude to you. And you're not being rude to me. I want to help you, and you don't have to rush. I don't have to rush. If we're on this call for an hour, so be it. I will not leave the building until I have answered your questions, but obviously I won't be here till midnight. Okay.
Okay, so
there is a deadline, but yes, I acknowledge all that you said on this phone call about trying to get through. Again, we hear it all the time. Okay, until we employ more staff, unfortunately, that is again the way it is. When we try to answer calls as quickly as we can with the limited amount of staff we've got, that is improving. We are hiring, or we've got people in training that are coming on board. Hopefully there will be a change made over the next few months. Yeah. So if I can answer your questions, sir, that's what I'm here to do. If you want to fire away.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Obviously.
So right. As you heard in her voice, her voice was the way our emotions work is when a lot of people phone up, they're emotionally in their conscious mind is, oh, here we go again, and the mind talk goes quickly and starts putting you down, and it just gets it bombarded. So all of a sudden, in your conscious mind, you go, I'm a victim again. I get angry. So when you get on the phone to them, your emotions are all over the place. You're angry. You are the victim. You are angry. You're concerned. You're trying to take responsibility. But then you have somebody come on the phone who has emotions. Now I want you to think about what happens when you push a dog or a rat into the corner and you keep kicking them. The emotions work on fight, flight, or freeze. These operators, they actually work on fight all the time. Because if it was Craig on that end of that phone as the operator, I can tell you now, Craig would take your address, he'd come looking for you, he would knock on your door, he would probably try and come down the phone, and he would try. She is in a heightened state of emotions, and you can hear it in the voice. Yeah. And that's my concern, is Craig, that's my concern. And she actually admits that at the end of the day, she's got no man. They're lacking the manpower. They're lacking staff.
Clive, we've got an echo again.
Okay, that's me sitting forward. Is that better?
Yeah. I don't know. No.
Right, is that better?
That's better, yeah. No.
Keep going.
Right, okay, so...
Sit back, Craig, sit back. Sit back, that's it.
When we've got people like that, people are highly emotionally charged because it's such a sensitive situation. You're paying for your children, and you want to pay for your children, and these people are giving you arrears what you don't owe. And
well, Craig,
hang on a second, mate. Hang on a second. You're being defrauded by the government. You're being defrauded by the CMG.
but Craig, I'm going to stop you. Is it the person's fault the system is failing? Is it the person's fault? Hang on now. The person is emotional high rate. They are fighting, and they are coming at you. And if it was you on the other end of the call, I can guarantee I would. Right. So please, what I'm trying to say to you is that
I know what you're saying, Clive. But these people, right? They're poorly trained, and actually they're all brainwashed to treat. I've got texts. Well, not texts. Please, Clive, please. I do have evidence that these people are brainwashed because they think that everyone who's their client is trying to evade paying for their kids, which is
Craig, I'm going to stop you for a minute because what I'm trying to get to you is the emotions, the way the emotions work. All right. The emotions, the way they work, and I'm going to show you another operator how she works, all right? Yeah. Because there's a difference, and Mark will tell you there's a difference, Charlotte will tell you there's a difference. Yeah. However, what I'm saying to you is, Craig, right, they're in a position where you used to be in the uniform. If you got told to do something, I stood next to you. When you disagreed with an order, I never seen you actually turn your back and go, I can't do that, and walk away. What did you do? What do the police do when they protest? They don't agree with they agree with the protesters. Sometimes when you're in a position of that position, you actually push through your emotions, mate, and your emotions get heightened. It's some of the individuals, unfortunately, are institutionalized. And
Clive, what about when you ran back on Queen's lifeguard because you thought you'd been ripped off?
But I got punished for that, Craig. So, what I'm saying to you, Craig, is what happens, because they keep playing the victim and they keep playing angry and they get concerned, but they try and take responsibility to change the system. They don't get no backing from their people who operate the system. So all of a sudden, what they do, they just keep getting angrier, and then they start taking it out on the people who phone them.
Can I just say something here, Clive? I do feel sorry for the guys on the end of the phone because some of them are quite decent, which we will hear in the next thing. But then again, when you speak to the enforcement team, that's a totally different matter. Those people are really nasty people.
Yes,
I want to tell you something about this. I'm going slightly. It's not your case, but it's a case I've been dealing with in the past. And what the CMS seem to be doing at the moment is they're chasing after people who are now in their 70s, late 60s, 70s, and one in particular is a guy who is in his 70s and he has dementia. Now he doesn't have. They're going after people where they can't go back because they know for a fact after 10 years that the bank details are deleted. Okay, you know that, yeah, right. So these people, the CMS, are now going after people where they cannot prove they've made payment in the past because those bank details have been deleted. So this guy with dementia, they're coming after him, and he's 70-year-old. They're coming after him. And he, his partner, he's paying for carers and stuff like that. And his partner has been having to deal with his case. And so it's really disgusting what they've done. Hang on a second, please.
Go on. You've got your say. Go on. I'm going to stop you in a minute because there's nothing. We will come on to that case again. All right. Okay. But what I'm going to say to you is the enforcement team.
They are absolute vile.
Listen to what I'm going to tell you. The enforcement team are then recruited, and then people are even worse with their emotions because they've taken them from. It's a stage process, and that's what's going on. And I wouldn't be put it past the enforcement team in having targets and getting paid Bonuses.
Oh yeah. Now then, going back to this case, this guy, dementia. They said he had such and such, and he didn't do it because he'd already made the payments, but he couldn't prove it. So anyway, what the enforcement team did was they raided his bank account in December, just before Christmas, and that money that he had in his account was actually for his care.
Fucking hell.
And and his partner called the CSA up or CMS and said what's happened and what the money was for. And the guy on the end of the phone was actually mortified and disgusted at the enforcement team. And he actually provided the actual name of that enforcement officer.
Yeah.
But that's where the system is failing.
And the money was put back
Craig,
into his account.
Craig, we're gonna. I want you to jack that one up. We need to do the talk on that. That's for another time. And all right. And at the end of the day, look, let's agree. Let's listen to that again. What she says.
I all that you said on this phone call about trying to get through. Again, we hear it all the time. Okay, until we employ more staff, unfortunately, that is again the way it is. When we try to answer calls as quickly as we can with the limited amount of staff we've got, that is improving. We are hiring, or we've got people in training that are coming on board. Hopefully, there will be a change made over the next few.
So that's her, all right? And she's telling you, she's probably said too much. If I was her boss, I would be all over that.
Yeah, you can almost sense the emotion in her voice. Basically, is trying to put that point across, and subconsciously, probably her feeling like she's done too much or is taking too much, and obviously putting that forward.
Here's the second one you sent me, the second person you spoke to within a month. Craig, listen to this.
It's Mark Mayhew, and 12-digit reference number is...
I'm going to just click a point to see where I can pick her.
July, £215 and 19th August had already been adjusted. £340 on the 2nd of September and another £340 on the 30th of September.
I'll take... She's put you on hold. I hate music, by the way. This music winds me up.
It does. That's HMRC.
I used to like it.
It's HMRC who's got that.
They've changed it, I think, didn't they, before COVID?
So I can't raise that change of income because I simply checked the real-time information. So obviously we've checked your wages as the employers uploaded it.
Right. Okay.
So can you see the difference in the voice?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
What? No, you can't see it. You can hear it. just listen to it.
The payments, like I said, the 187 that's going towards arrears.
That's her. And I fall in love with her because I think she's brilliant. And then you got this.
Swiss Trauma Incident Services, I need to take your name.
Nasty. That is nasty.
Obviously,
You wouldn't even need to send them in, but we would do that at the time of the call, and then we could
pay the child maintenance.
Actually, where is it? There.
So I don't, I'm not disputing what
That's
you're saying.
her
I'm
voice.
just trying to answer your question that you're asking me.
I've used my national insurance number.
I mean,
it's gone to someone else.
We're beyond that. We've done all the security, and I'm happy to speak to you. I'm just trying to make sure I'm answering your question.
So
obnoxious.
But emotions, Craig, it's emotions running wild. She's now in the victim conflict. She's in conflict. I'm having a conflict with. Right! And that's it. That's where she is.
Well, that's
I'm talking. So right now then, the thing is with this, right? This is such a sensitive situation. These people have got. There's problems with with the family. It's divorce and separation is such a sensitive
Craig.
thing, and
that's Craig, and that's what we're saying is, all due respect, our system is broke.
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
People,
without a doubt.
Then
without
people. Right, we've got two sets of emotions. We've got Mark's emotions. We've got his girlfriend, his ex-partner's emotions. Then we got CMS's emotions above, all bombarded into one person. Hence why we have people taking their own lives.
Exactly.
because they are being treated by people who are angry and don't understand the implications they've got. And we've got a government who's got a department in place which is, it needs further training, needs further support, it needs mental health awareness, it needs to change the way it's actually working with people and dealing with people.
What about the nudge team, mate?
We'll come on to that in a minute. Mark, what were you going to say? But before
I'm sorry, Mark.
Mark, just talk.
It's almost gone. But no, basically, I still roughly remember the phone call itself. Not exactly what was said, but I remember it in the sense of I picked the phone up and I remember thinking, what the hell? Who am I talking to? And somehow Siri has heard that. I do apologise if that's on there.
They're listening, Matt. They're listening in.
yeah. There's advertisements coming soon for that. New load.
For CMS, they're employing, so they're looking for
You never know. You never know. There's probably a company somewhere that's got stakes in it.
Yeah.
But no, putting that aside. But no, on a serious note, I do remember the phone call. I remember thinking, who the hell am I on the phone with? Because I felt bad enough or confused enough as it was, and just wanted to speak to someone and clarify a few details. And my initial feeling of I finally got through, and it's almost it gives me the recollection of being at school. You've done something wrong or not right. Sit down, do as you're told, and it doesn't reassure you that you're going to get the correct information back, or what you're saying is going to be documented and processed. And I fully understand and agree with what you say as well. Is that obviously there is a human on the other side of the phone. I don't know what her day's been. Obviously at the time I knew what my day's been, like a lot of other people. Is if you've had a whole day of work, you're tired anyway. But I personally wouldn't want to be doing that job myself.
No.
Because there's probably a lot of people like me, or probably worse than me, that are more pent up, more angry, and without them intentionally trying to be nasty, they're trying to put their point across, and the individual picking the phone up, is taken out on board.
Mark, I'm going to ask you a question. Do me a favour. Sit up straight for a minute. I want you to think of that time when you were on that phone. All right. I want you to think back to that conversation you had with that woman on the phone. All right. Think about it now, and I want you to breathe into that moment when you spoke to that one. When you heard that then, and you heard the voice, you're back there, and I want you to tell me some part of your body where you're feeling something.
To be quite honest, hearing it back isn't something that I've actually done since even recording it. That was recordings during previous ones to try and get some information that said, and then I've got facts.
But what I'm saying to you,
what I heard with you replaying it is, I actually feel pretty bad for it. I'll be quite honest.
No, but what I'm trying to show you is, I want you to look into your mind when she spoke to you, the way she was speaking to you. What was you telling yourself in your mind? What was going on in your mind?
In my head, honestly, I thought I was probably going to get nowhere, and nothing's been taken seriously, or at least from my point of view and my. And this
is what I'm getting to, is what happens when you engage with a person like that. You're going to feel the emotion somewhere in your body, and it would have been anger, all right, and it probably would have been in the chest. And you would have.
It's something that would have led, by the time I had another letter again, phoning up, and again you're thinking there's literally no point. And I'll be quite honest. There's through contact with CMS, not individuals as such, but as a system of the information given to me via letters from them and conversations with them. and nothing's been done. If anything, it almost feels like you contact them, and my situation gets worse without any whatever. And it took me down such a dark path in a bad time when, at the time, I was being isolated as well, on and off through periods of whether it be 3 months or then later on after another month, another 2 months, and
from the children.
from any parent on any side of the fence, if you have a long period away from your children, it affects you mentally. Now, the CMS have, even if it is unintentional, I say that cautionally, because I'm sure there are some people out there that might use that to their aid, without thinking of children's feelings and wants. Is then, let's just say I had my children all the time, and I decide that by not letting my ex have the children at all, or sleepovers on based on the amount of nights, I could then receive more money. That leads the way for some individuals to then, if you like, play that system. And it's not even the other parent they're affecting, whether that be they're the ones that are left. It could be the children, which they work for.
Clive, this leads on to what you've been saying in pretty much every video, is that CMS help aid parental alienation the way it is at the moment.
And that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
The more nights the RP has, the more money they get. So they use this to their advantage, and with some people, they completely cut them off.
If I may add, and I don't have the information now, I'm sure it's something that you guys can get if it comes up again in the future, is what I noticed at the time when I stated that I at one point I was then able to have my children for another night per week, or so you're talking 2 to 3 nights a week, every other week, and then every other 2 weeks, etc. Putting that aside, is regardless whether I have my children, for example, 1 night a week, or whether that be 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week, it's based on a yearly system with such a big gap. Now, if I get, let's just say 1 month, I get more money, or let's say now over lockdown even, might be an easier way to explain it, is my ex has had to isolate, I've had to have the children, I love the fact I have them, children still cost money, you still got to put food in their mouths, especially if you're not expecting it. And again, even if you do plan to have your children, they cost money. Now, there's such a big gap into the amount of nights stay, and again, it's based on nights. But I'll mention that in just a moment. But I think it's something like 52 nights a year, and then it over doubles that until there's any other change. But let's say for 1 month I was to have them for the entire month. The following month I might have them for 2 nights or whatever, but it might be outside of what they've previously told to what I had them. If you phone them up and say, I've over the last 3 months had them every weekend, they will then do the calculation to say, well, actually, that doesn't fall in our bracket of whatever. So payments won't come down or whatever. So even though I'm having them more, let's say I could have them twice the amount, my payments don't come down.
So the system, and we keep saying it, the system's broke, and the system alienates the payer. They take 20% off the payer, 4% off the person who's got a child or the children. So they take 4% out the child's pocket, and potentially what you've proved today is the system failed everybody during furlong. The system's failing everybody still, and the child's safeguard. It's actually the system is not actually built as they built it for the child. The system is built to make money on behalf of CMG. Child Maintenance Group.
The thing is that this is not in the best interest of the children.
No.
This is all about money in the coffers for the government.
It is, and Craig, this is where we're going to go on to
Operations.
I don't know if you're aware, Mark and Charlotte. I love the name Charlotte, by the way. That was my sister's name.
The lottery.
She's not with us anymore, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that.
So it's okay. So this is. I don't know if you're aware of Nudge. Craig made me aware. The Behavioural Insights team is now an independent UK government body. They work for the government. So, Craig, give us a little bit of background about Nudge, son.
The Nudge team, now the behavioural science team. Well, they were just like it. Basically, I'm going to keep this very short.
Yeah.
It's psychological warfare on the members of the public. It's as simple as that.
Well, even better, I found one of the reports. It's from 2017-18. All right, I just had a look at it. Government and society. Strong society depends on the connections between citizens and government. Since the team's creation, which is Nudge, Behavioural Insight Team, we have worked to embed clearer understanding of human behaviour at the heart of policy making, while also helping people make better decisions for themselves. Well, the policies they've got in place for communication, they don't abide by, they don't enforce. So it's got to be asked about the questions on this behavioural insight team. What do they actually do? Because at this moment in time, emotionals are running high, as we've demonstrated. Health and well-being. This is what they've said. 7. We want people to live long, happily, healthy lives, but around the world, healthcare systems face similar pressures for ageing populations to antimicrobial resistance. Working closely with our partners such as Public Health England and the UK National Health Service, we use behavioural insights to improve policy and systems. And this is the type of stuff they use is amazing. But the person who signed off on this report, do any of you know who this gentleman is?
Sir Mark Sedwell.
Not myself, no.
He had something to do with the sports. He's the head of the civil service.
Yeah, Cabinet Secretary, head of civil service.
He replaced Robert Devereux.
He's just been in the news, and he's just stepped down. I'm not sure if he was sacked or he stepped down from the civil service, but he signed off on it. Yeah.
Who replaced him?
I do not know, Craig, but I've got to look at it. But this is what they say on their website. We apply behavioural insights to inform policy, improve public services, deliver positive results from people and communities. Well, what's going on today? What are they actually doing? Because our economy is in a right state. Our communities and our people are absolutely all over the place, and CMS are destroying, and their actions are driving people to ends wit. And we have had people.
Thing is, Clive, it's not just ginger. It's not just CMS. It's what's behind CMS. It's gingerbread. It's all of those that have lied throughout COVID, throughout everything.
Yeah,
gingerbread are the worst. They are the ones that have created this monster. They're now complaining and whinging about this monster that they've created, which is hypocritical to me.
That's the big thing. Is I've actually, and this is to Victoria. What's her name, Craig? Victoria from Gingerbread.
Benson. She accused me of harassment.
Victoria Benson.
Victoria Benson.
Victoria Benson. All right. I've sent an email to you. I've sent an email to Jamie Stones and various other MPs and everything. Come and have a chat, because the system is actually letting down everybody. It's not just. It's not a one-way. This is not a one-way street. The system we've got in place is failing our parents, and
the system that we have is oppressive.
Yes, it is, and it's wrong. And the only way we can bring changes is if everybody comes together. Gingerbread, and because you've got, Mark, you're talking to your partner now, or your ex-partner, and for her to come forward and tell you what she's told you, oh, by the way, before we do anything and cut up and leave, you didn't remind me. Why didn't you remind me? That's it. Now, you know, I don't know what to say to you anymore. I've got to save this letter. I don't know how to save it. I'm terrible. Open with. I'll open it. And I'm going to bring it across. Oh, right. I'm going to save this. Bring it across. So, the letter, all right, which I will try and expand. Let me share this letter before we're going to run over on time. I'm sorry, but that's where we are.
Clive, all I think we're going to have to do a part 2 of this as well. Yeah,
definitely. All right. Let's have a look. Are we going to extend this? We'll do a part 2 on this, definitely, Craigie boy. All right. But, yeah, thank you for contacting us. You selected the option missing payments, your query qualification. Thank you for contacting Child Maintenance Service via our online portal regarding your payments. I have looked into the query and can confirm that the due to Mr. Mayor being on the enforcement method of collection, we will not expect your payment to be received between the 19th and the 24th of the month. Mr. Mayhew is paying through a deduction of earnings order, so employer deducting forward payment child maintenance. As the employer may have more than one employee they're making deductions for, we advise them to send all deductions before the 19th. However, due to current COVID outbreak, the service have been reduced to a minimum. This is unfortunately affects some other services. Oh, it's in writing, Craig.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this COVID thing.
Yeah, no, but Craig,
before that it was Brexit.
But Craig, hang on. They're saying people like Mark are deadbeats.
I know.
And they just said, however, due to current coronavirus COVID outbreak, our services have been reduced to the minimum.
Yeah, so they're blaming it on deadbeats, but it's actually their service that's been reduced. So Barnett Stedman Scott is again putting lies in the media, and we don't have a thing. And that's what's going down, Clive. Article 10 of the European Convention of Human Rights.
It's unbelievable.
The mask in the media, man. It's a big fucking flipping brings up attention. You know, the thing is, they've got control of the media, and they're publicising lies. It's so annoying.
What I'm going to say,
it's angering. It just makes you angry.
Yeah,
it's like tell the truth.
Yeah.
So look,
they've got Tories in. You got no chance of the truth coming out there, have you?
Look, an inquest is required because the app for track and trace, I don't know if you're aware, up to July it cost 10 billion. I don't know if it's up to 18 billion just for an app which I could have probably got produced for less than 5 million. You know, because you've just got to bring all the developers in and the teams and do beta testing and stuff like that. So billions of pounds have been spent on an app where good programmers and good company would do it for a fraction of the price. But
it's like employing their cronies, that's what it is.
Yeah, but Craig, that's why an inquest into anything the government do or the government are in will never work, because they've done inquests with Lord Lemon, which you've seen the email I've sent, Craig, safeguarding the children. That conclusions of that report have never been put in place. All right, so inquests don't work because they never put in place the conclusions or the findings.
Public inquiries never work either.
All right, so where we are. Right, what we've showed this evening is major failing by the CMS, all right? Lack of support, lack of training, lack of empathy, I would say, but empathy, emotional intelligence, they haven't got it. The teams they've got, it's the structure. It's the structure, it's the system. It all needs to be reviewed and it needs to be overhauled. Gingerbread Victoria Benson, I've called you out. I've called out many people before. I wish to see somebody come forward and sit down and give their side. I'm not biased of either side. I want to hear it from every party, as you've seen tonight. But the system's broke and it's failing. So we need to come together and we need to make it happen. Mark, Charlotte, thank you for your share. Are you willing to come on again?
Yes,
definitely, because we've gone over. And anything you want to say from you, both of you? Anything you want to say to anybody out there? Any advice you want to give them, or
Well, to be honest, there is. I don't know if that's us echoing.
You've got an echo there.
Yeah, go on.
Right. That should be better. There's obviously I've got Charlotte, which is the only reason we're having this conversation tonight, because I've distanced myself from everything. I appreciate we're short of time, but I would say over everything my mental health was affected. So I would like to end on, if anyone at any point, whether you feel like you can open up or not, is just to speak to someone. And that, especially during COVID, I don't know how many even parents might also have been affected by the service. That obviously they was expecting. If anyone is affected at all, regardless how you're feeling, reach out to someone. Whether that's your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, someone at work, or a helpline. Absolutely anyone, because what I'm just talking about it generally does help. And again, I take my hat off to Charlotte. She's taken a lot of the burden away from me. But even tonight, going through over certain bits, to be honest, it does help. And other videos that you've done with other people, I certainly do feel for everyone. It makes me feel better for the wrong reasons that there are other people. There shouldn't be. But I'm not alone. So again, anyone out there watching this, reach out.
Yeah, definitely. Charlotte, you reinforce that?
Yep, definitely. Keep fighting. Just do not ever give up with these idiots, because they are stupid. But literally, the evidence is building against them every day, and it's just, one day, as me and Craig and even you have said, everybody has said, this is going to come out, and when it does, those involved are going to be very, very embarrassed and very, very sorry for what they've done, because they've pretty much, murdered people, or it's manslaughter, because at the same time, bills, mortgages, your life. Yes, your children do come first, but at the same time, you want to build something for them, and you want them to be comfortable when they're with you as well, and that is so important. That is child support to me. It's not just the financial side; it's supporting them emotionally and supporting them develop.
Yeah, and I think look, coming from a separated family, it does impact you. It does impact you as a child, and you hold on to it. And it is about the safeguarding of the child. And there's going to be times when people are struggling with money, and where CMS, in my eyes, should be is the mediator. The mediator shouldn't be making 39, 40 million profit in 1 year. It's wrong.
They also survive. They were getting bonuses as well.
Yeah. So that's where we are.
They should not. They should not be getting targets, and they shouldn't be getting bonuses.
Craig, we will talk about that in the next show. All right.
Roger that.
Last word from you, Craig.
Before I go, Lottie, and Mark, tell me how you felt when these brown letters come to your door.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety is just like shit, another brown letter,
Yeah.
and also anger as well. Anger because they are constantly ignoring the emails that you're sending to tell them not to send letters and also communicate on email because those are what I've been saying.
Well, it's just the constant amount, but I mean, immediately you have a sense of anxiety.
Exactly.
And even you go back into a depressive state, whether you've had a fairly good day or not,
Yeah.
you see that your mood, it drops like a gun.
So
And you think, God.
And it's always on a Friday as well. Every single envelope
It seems to be more so.
always seems to be Friday, and it's
So-
like, oh,
It is.
So
So it trashes your weekend.
It
And then
does.
also about
It does.
the text. The texts. Tell me about the texts.
Craig,
Clive.
I'm going to stop you now because I asked you for the last word and you keep going it on, all right? We'll do this again. So either I'm going to switch your volume off and remove you from the screen,
Fucking hell.
all right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to apologise because we have gone over, all right? As you can see, we've already demonstrated again the failings, how the system's letting people down, and something's got to happen. And if you have the brown letter moment, which is horrendous, anxiety, depression, and remember every Friday is going to come in because that's how they communicate. All right, you got to reach out. You got to talk to people, share where you are. Don't bottle it up because if you bottle it up, what we have found is, look, let's not beat around the bush here. All right, we've lost a very good man, and we've nearly lost another good man, Lee, through emotions. And these people are pulling on the emotions, they're pulling on psychology, and they're using psychology, which we've just demonstrated. Even the psychology of saying fathers are deadbeats in the media. And then we've just exposed that that's untrue. It's because they've worked with minimal staff. That's come from the DWP. Wait now, Craig. So if you are struggling, please reach out. All right, CSAL and anybody else. So don't be alone. Craig, I'm going to let you have the last word now. Go on. And keep it short because I will switch you off.
Clive, with what you just said there, I really need you to show the early day emotions from 1997.
The early day emotions. I'm just going to show this early day emotion, and then I'm going to end it. All right, Craig, I'll do it just for you now. All right, the early day emotions. Craig, we're not going to talk about them because they're going to be for the next show. For the next show, we're going to talk about the system actually was closed down. And this is from 1997. This is the old system, 1997, Child Support Agency. This house deeply deplores the unfair inconsistency long apparent in the operation of Child Support Agency. Notes, for instances, that fathers who have made maintenance arrangements from their former partners are being pursued by the CSA for much higher payments, far in the excess of their means, while, on the other hand, there are many women who have never received maintenance payments at all because of failure of CSA to pursue their former partners with sufficient vigour. Believes that the CSA is currently concentrating its effort on soft targets rather than consistent enforcement of proper maintenance obligation. And the committee urges the government to enhance fairness and effectiveness of operations of the CSA at the earliest opportunity. We're going to discuss this because the system is still failing. CMS.
That was 97.
Craig, that was 23 years ago, Craig, to be precise. So when you look at it, Craig, all right, 23 years ago,
nothing has changed.
23 years ago, nothing has changed. And you've got probably there was a lot of labour there, look, all right? A lot of labour. So nothing's changed. Nothing will change unless everybody comes together and holds them to account. So, look, we can either all come together, Victoria Benson, we can come together and work together, or in 23 years' time we'll still be talking about the same subject, which is disgusting.
Clive,
more.
Clive, I want you to share the other one as well.
Craig, I've shared that. We're going to discuss the other one because it's same grounds. So we're going to do that the next time, all right? You would carry on for 2 hours. So,
battered.
Craig, everybody, thank you very much. I've got to
Thank you for
go.
having us.
Good night. God bless.
Bye.